Hi everyone and welcome to the latest episode of Knitting Matters. My name is Amy and I'm a knitter based in the UK, specifically in Wales. I'm really excited to share my podcast with you today because I have no less than 4 finished items. So without further ado, let's get into it. So my first finished item this week is what I'm wearing. It is my gorgeous and delightful Eva Cardigan by PetiteKnit. So I started knitting this one about 6 weeks ago. It was the project that I cast on the plane when I was on my way to Cyprus on holiday. So that's a hot country destination. I have chosen to make it not out of the suggested yarn, which is Peer by Sanders Garn. I chose to make it out of e-cotton, which is a recycled cotton yarn from Berger de France. So I used stash yarn for this one to try and get the yarn out of my stash, and it worked perfectly. My vision for it was very much to have an oversized cotton cardigan, something that I could throw on in the cool summer evenings as the temperature was dropping a little bit. So something I could throw on over dresses or t-shirts or whatever, just as an extra layer that wasn't too warm, and it has absolutely delivered on that. So I made the size extra large. I have a bust circumference of about 104 centimeters, so I was sort of in between. Usually I'm in between sizes with PetiteKnit. I'm not quite a medium, but I'm not quite a large either, so the large is a bit too big and the medium is a bit too small. So I normally make the large, but on this occasion, I decided to make the extra large because I wanted it to have lots of positive ease, and that it does. So you can see I have plenty of positive ease here and throughout the body, which is exactly how I wanted it to be. I used these buttons, which were recycled from a cardigan that I had before that wore out, and I threw the cardigan away because it was so holey, but I saved the buttons. So it is a beautiful, this is a really unique shoulder construction that I haven't used before. So on the back of the yoke here, you pick up stitches for this shoulder panel here, and then you pick up stitches along here for the sleeve. So it's not a shoulder construction that I've done before, but one that I really enjoy. I really enjoy the depth of this double knit button band. I think that adds, you know, it just adds to the big slouchy feel of it. And I really like it. I think I've worn it every day since I've made it, and that's saying a lot because we are going through our 3rd heat wave in the UK so far this year. So the temperatures have been up in the 30 degrees Celsius range, but I have still managed to find time to wear this one. I absolutely adore it. I'm really proud of it. I love wearing it. So yeah, this is my Eva Cardigan by PetiteKnit. I will say my mum, when I was making it, she's just kept saying to me, oh, I had a cardigan like that and I lost it. I left it in Cyprus. And she just keeps talking about this cardigan that she lost. She's really clearly quite bereaved by this cardigan that she's lost, which allegedly looked very similar to this one, but in a deep chocolatey brown. And she keeps saying about how much she'd really like me to make her one, and then she actually asked me to make her one. So we sat down together last week and we were looking at different yarns. She wanted me to make it in exactly the same yarn as this one, so I went on the Berger de France website to see if they still stocked e-cotton, which I'm happy to say they do. They don't have this shade anymore. This shade has been discontinued, but she chose like an indigo blue, and she's really pleased with that. So Berger de France, they do these offers that just make you buy more and more. So they had an offer on, which is where if you buy 5 balls, you get 5 free. But then if you buy 10, you get 10 free. And if you buy 15, you get 15 free. So I knew I needed 14. So I put 9 in my basket knowing that I'd get 5 free. But then I thought, well, if I just put 1 more in my basket, then I get 10 free. So that's what I did, which means despite trying to go stashless this year, I'm probably still going to have yarn left over. yeah, I have bought 10 balls and I've got 10 balls free, and I'm really hoping that they're going to arrive this week so that I can cast on one of these for my mum for Christmas. And then with the 10 balls that are left over, I might be able to make one maybe the size smaller for me so that I have the option. Or I might make one for my daughter so that she can match with grandma, depending on how much I have left over at the end. But yeah, that's my Eva cardigan by PetiteKnit, and I'm completely in love with that one. So my second finished item this podcast are these, which are the Sunday socks by PetiteKnit. So the last podcast update that I did, I believe I had knit one, but I hadn't managed to make the other one. They are a top-down construction made in a double knit weight yarn. So I have made mine out of Drops Lima in the colour Rust, which was left over from a Louvre sweater that I had made for myself. Did I make it last year? I think I made it last winter. And I had a few balls left over, enough to make him a pair of socks anyway. So they are a top-down construction. I have started with an Italian cast on here, double rib all the way down to the heel. Then there's the heel construction, and then stocking stitch on the sole while you have continuation of the double rib for the instep, and then the toe decreases here. Now it's my preference to knit socks toe up. I always have preferred to knit them toe up, which I think is why it took me so long to cast on the second sock here for him. So I'm thinking of redrafting PetiteKnit's pattern to be toe up so that I can make him, because he really wants more of these for Christmas, which I'm happy to oblige with. I've made him knit socks the whole time we've been together. I've knit him socks because he works outside in the winter. And he's always worn a pair of cotton socks underneath and then these ones on top, and he says that they really do make a difference at keeping his feet feeling dry and feeling warm. And I've recently learned that alpaca yarn can absorb up to 30% of its weight in moisture before your skin starts to feel wet. So this yarn, the Lima by Drops, is 65% alpaca and 65% alpaca and 35% wool, I think. So hopefully these will do a good job of doing just that. But I plan to make him a few more pairs for Christmas so that he can enjoy dry and warm feet while he's out working this winter. And I think they look massive, but they do fit his feet perfectly. So I made the largest size in the pattern, which is the men's size. And yeah, I definitely think I'll be making a couple of pairs for myself as well. I think these will be perfect for inside my walking boots. So yeah, that is my second finished item for this podcast, and they are the Sunday socks by PetiteKnit. Okay, my next finished item for this week is the Colour Block Cardigan by Berger de France, which is this one. This one popped up in, I think, the first or second episode, but I have made a real conscious effort to work on and finish some of my whips for this the last few weeks, and this is one of the ones that I wanted to finish. So the intention with this one, again, was to use up some of my stash yarn. So this pink, this white and this beigey colour were all in my stash already. I did buy a ball of the dark pink. So these three colours are all Debbie Bliss Baby Cash Merino. So this pattern was designed for a sport weight baby yarn, which I have in abundance, but I didn't have any of this dark pink. And this dark pink is the Rowan, I think it's called Cash Soft Baby, which is the alternative to the Debbie Bliss Cash Merino. So I bought that to go with the rest of it. But that's it. So my daughter chose the buttons herself. Don't know if you can see those glittery buttons. She loves them. That is, for me, that's a bit of a top tip. If you're knitting for children, is to get them to either choose the yarn or choose the colour, maybe if they can hold the yarn up against their neck so that they know it's not itchy, or to choose the finishing touches like the buttons. That really gets them excited to wear it, and they're a lot more likely to wear your handmade knits if they've chosen them, or at least that's always worked for me. So I made this one in age 10, which is way too big for her at the moment. She's wearing size 7 to 8 clothes. It is, it's fine if she just pulls the sleeves up, but for me it just means that it'll last her an extra winter. The only thing that's a bit unusual about this cardigan is the way the button band is constructed, and I haven't seen this before in a pattern, so I thought I'd give it a go. So when you cast on here, you cast on X number of stitches for the rib, and then your first row of stocking stitch you actually cast on an extra 6 stitches, which you knit all the way up, and then you cast them off before you get to the rib at the top. So you have this extra flap of fabric which you then fold over and stitch down once you're finished. So you can see it's double thick, the button band on both sides is double thick. So that I don't mind that side looks great, but then when it comes to the buttons, the pattern says to put afterthought buttons in, and I just wish that the instructions had, which I'll show you one of them there, I just wish the instructions had included maybe buttonholes worked into that button band, or perhaps maybe I wish I'd done maybe a double knit button band instead, because I just think that doesn't look as neat as that side does. So it's an interesting, it is an interesting technique for doing the button band, and I'm not mad at it, but I'm not sure I would rush to do it again. I think, I mean, maybe I just need a bit more practice. Maybe that's all there is to it, but I don't like afterthought buttonholes anyway. I much prefer ones that are worked into the rib. I just think they look neater. I think they give a better finish. So, but I don't think it looks, I mean, what do you think? But do let me know your thoughts in the comment. I don't know if I'm just being a bit fussy, because I think it looks all right, right? Anyway, the important thing is that she likes it, because if she doesn't like it, she won't wear it. But she does, she really likes it. My husband calls it her Neapolitan ice cream cardigan, which I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not, but anyway, that is my third finished item for this week. And that's the Colour Block Cardigan by Berger de France. That is a free pattern available on their website, and I'll try and remember to link it in the description below so that you can go and check it out for yourselves. My fourth and final finished item for this week is, again, a project that I started to try and clear some of the baby cashmerino that I have in ample supply. And that's this teeny tiny little newborn cardigan. Look how cute that is. I look at it and I think that's so tiny. How will anyone ever fit into that? But I also know that I used this pattern for my own children multiple times, and they definitely fit into it. So I know they do. Newborns do fit this size. It just it's just so small. So this pattern is one that I compiled myself from, I took elements from lots of different patterns that I was making when my children were smaller to make this classic cardigan. So I really liked that double knit raglan. I really liked the double knit button bands, but I wanted a top-down construction, so it's not published or anything, it's just some notes on a bit of paper that I wrote for myself, because I really like making baby cardigans. And yeah, there's not a lot to say about this one really. I used Debbie Bliss Cashmerino, which gives this really beautiful fabric. It has a slight sheen to it, but it's super soft, so it's cashmere, silk and merino blend, so there's no itchiness on there at all. It's really smooth, really soft, and nice and warm and breathable, so just perfect for newborns. And I've used these little buttons that I had in my button jar. My daughter picked those out as well, so yeah, that's my fourth finished item, and it's so cute. Not cute enough to make me want another baby, but very cute. So, I work as a midwife in the UK. I have done for the last 20 years. So if you would be, and I've had 2 children myself, so if you're interested in baby knits that I recommend and wouldn't recommend, do let me know in the comments below. I'm not sure if that's a video people would want to watch, but if it is, do let me know and I'm happy to make it. But yeah. So moving on, I am trying to reduce the amount of whips that I have going on. So I've got 3 active whips that I'm working on at the moment. The first one I'm hoping isn't going to be a whip for very much longer. I haven't touched it for a really long time, so I think you saw it maybe in one of the first or second episodes and you haven't seen it since, and that is the Oslo Hat that I'm knitting by PetiteKnit. So I'm making this one for my son and I'm knitting it in Rowan Pure Alpaca, which is amazingly soft, really soft, and I really enjoy these really rich colours that the Pure Alpaca comes in. I'm having a bit of an alpaca moment, as you can probably tell. It's super warm and I really like this pattern, so I've made a lot of Oslo hats. I've made one for each of my children already. I've made one for my mum, I've made one for myself. I really like the pattern. I think it's a really elegant construction. I really like the way that this cuff, would you call it the cuff? The brim, I think that's the word for it. The brim of the hat, the cast on edge is all concealed, and this turning, these turning rows I think is a really clever, it's just a really clever construction, so that when the brim is turned the right way round, you have this lovely band to stop the brim from rolling out of place. So, and then that gives you 3 layers of fabric then over your ears, which I appreciate. So, oops, nearly lost a stitch. So I've knit a fair bit of the body now. I think I have another centimetre or 2 to go, and then I can start doing the decreases for the crown. So I'm hoping this will only take another evening or 2 and this one will be finished. So this is the Oslo Hat by PetiteKnit. The next item that I am working on, I haven't done very much of this one since the last podcast either. And that is, let me show you a picture of it. Oops. So I am making the Whisker Jumper by Rowan. So I saw this sample in my local knitting store. I'm so lucky, my local knitting store is the flagship store for Rowan yarns. So they always have an incredible selection of Rowan yarns, and they always have all of the samples in the store as well. So I saw this sample, they had it in the window and they let me try it on when I went into the store, and I completely fell in love with it. So there and then I had to buy the yarn to go with it. Orange isn't usually my colour. I think if they had had this in a red, I absolutely would have bought it in a red, but they didn't. These are at the time that I purchased it, these are the only colours that were available. So I bought the exact same colours as the sample there. So it is a bottom-up construction, knit in the round. And I have finished the first stage of the body, which is there. So you knit the body, then you knit each of the arms up, and then you join for the yoke. So I have knit the body and one sleeve, and I'm yet to cast on the second sleeve. So once I've cast on the second sleeve, I'll be able to join the 3 pieces together, and then I can start the colour work yoke. So I'm really excited about that, and I think it won't take, once I get started, it won't take me long to do the sleeve. I just need to get started. So, and now a lot of my other smaller projects are out the way, I think it'll be a lot easier for me to get started. So I'm knitting it in the suggested yarn, as I mentioned, which is Rowan Tweed Haze. It is a blown alpaca yarn. So blown alpaca yarns tend to have a chain of nylon that runs through the middle, so they're never 100% pure wool. And then they literally blow the fibres through that chain, and the fibres sort of intermingle and interlock, which gives you this fuzzy halo effect on the yarn. What I really love about this yarn particularly is the different colours that are flecked through it. So you don't just get a flat blue, it's blue flecked with greys and a bit of yellow there. You get a bit of pink, a bit of orange. I love that pink. You can see quite a bit of it on that side. So I really enjoy the feel of this yarn. I've never worn a garment made of this yarn before, so I'm really excited to see how it feels. I mean, it feels okay on my neck here now, but I'm not sure if I will get irritated once I start getting a bit hot, but I'll let you know once it's completed. So that is my Whisk sweater by Rowan that I am, I'd say, about a quarter of the way done with. My next WIP I haven't worked on very much recently just because I've been too hot to, and it is the beautiful, beautiful Dagmar Zipper by PetiteKnit. So I completely fell in love with the zipper. I was eyeing up the Dagmar series, and I knew that I wanted to make something from the Dagmar series, and I was leaning towards the sweater. The jacket, I don't know, I just didn't feel the jacket was quite right for me. And then she released the zipper and I was like, that's the one that I'm going to be making. So that's the one that I did make. I have finished the back yoke, I have finished the front yoke, I have joined in the round, and I think that's the last time I updated you was just after I joined in the round. So as you can see, I haven't actually done that much more. I'm maybe only 5 centimeters in from joining in the round. So I'm really I'm really enjoying knitting on this. It does take a bit of thinking because I have to remember which stage of the pattern I'm on, which is partly my own fault because I'm dreadful at following the pattern as I go along once I've got it memorised. So I really love this honeycomb pattern that is in the middle. That is really fun to knit. Then you've got these 1x1 cables and these really beautiful diamonds with the double twist there, which are just scrumptious. So I'm thinking once I finish this skein of yarn, which will be a little while because I've only just joined it, but once I've finished this cake, I will probably do the collar and the facing for the zip, which is double knit, so it looks like it's going to be quite involved, but I always like to do that bit so that I can, because then I get really excited about how it's going to look and I get really motivated to finish then. So I will keep going on this one, just plugging away quietly on this one. Oh, maybe I'll talk about the yarn quickly. So I'm using the Blueface Leicester fleece by the West Yorkshire Spinners. It's an Aran weight 100% wool, and I chose it because it was a very similar weight and very similar properties to the suggested yarn, because I very nearly bought the suggested yarn in the pattern, which is by Heel Holt. Is that the name of it? Heel Holt, I think. But anyway, I decided to use British yarn and I decided to go for the West Yorkshire Spinners. The Blueface Leicester is super soft, so I'm really thick and warm, but it makes my hands really sweaty when I'm working with it, which is a good thing because I'm confident that it's going to be a really warm sweater when I'm finished, which is the whole point of it. Yeah, it's just been a bit too hot to work on it this last few weeks. I don't know if I mentioned last time, but when I picked up for the shoulder seams, I frogged back a couple of times because I wanted the diamonds to line up properly. And I didn't get that the first couple of times that I picked up the stitches. It was not quite seamless enough. So do you see how it's kind of on an angle? I still am not quite perfectly lined up here on this 1x1 cable. But it's a lot better than it was the first time I did it, and the same on this side. I couldn't quite get that one to line up properly, but that was the best I could get it. I think that was attempt number 3 and I had given up by that point. And I do also think, you know, it's going to be on the back of my shoulders. I don't really think anyone's going to notice it that much, especially not if I don't point it out to them. So yeah, so that's my progress on my Dagmar. And I think that that's everything that I wanted to update you on today, really. There's nothing else that I've got going on knit-wise. Oh, wait, yes, there is. I had 2 balls of this left over, so I'm having a go. Dropped the needle earlier. I'm having a go at some Tunisian crochet, and I'm making a little washcloth with my leftover cotton. How cute is that? I'm really enjoying Tunisian crochet. In fact, I can see that I'm tempted to do a bit more Tunisian crochet. So I just did a chain of 50 stitches, and I'm going backwards and forwards now to, oh gosh, hold on, I've pulled the needle out. Crazy. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going back and forth in the standard Tunisian stitch. I don't know the name of it, but it's my first time giving it a go. I think that looks all right, and I think it would be quite a nice little washcloth for, you know, washing my makeup off and stuff. Maybe I'll use it as a dishcloth, but I think my preference at the moment would be to use it as a washcloth. So yeah, I've made a little start on that one. And I think probably what I hope to cast on, I will try and finish, I think I'll try and finish my whisk jumper before I do, but I'm going to try and cast on the novice slipover before autumn comes this year as well. So I've got the yarn for that. I've had the yarn for that for a long time. I think I bought the yarn in about 2010. I bought it for, so I made myself this really beautiful jumper that has owl cables all around the neck. I'll try and insert a picture here, but it's the first adult sized sweatshirt that I'd ever made. It is the first time I'd ever made something for myself. So for years and years and years, I've always knitted baby items. So you know, I mentioned I'm a midwife in the UK. So I have made hundreds upon hundreds of baby hats and baby cardigans that I've donated to the neonatal unit, and I've also knitted boobs to help mums learn how to feed their babies. I've knit quite a few like little blankets and things for the babies that didn't quite make it, and you know, parents who weren't prepared to have a baby that little. So I make lots of little things like that for the neonatal unit. And certainly before I had my own children, that's what I knit primarily. And then I remember thinking I really wanted to make myself something. So I knit this owl jumper. It was designed to have just a little bit of negative ease and to be very form-fitting. And I was so proud of it. And you can see from the smile on my face that I was so proud of this jumper. And the first time I washed it, I felted it, which was my own inexperience. It was just inexperience. I know better now, but I was devastated at the time. I was like really devastated, and it put me off knitting anything for myself for a long while after that. But anyway, as soon as I felted that jumper, I wanted to make myself another one straight away. So I bought 10 balls of the Rowan tweed. Oh, I can't remember. I'll put a name of it down below. I think that yarn has now been discontinued, but at the time I bought 10 balls of it because the owl jumper that I knitted took 10 balls, but what I didn't account for was the owl jumper yarn was 10 100-gram balls, whereas I had purchased 10 50-gram balls. And again, this is just my own experience. I didn't know how to calculate yarn requirements for different patterns when you're substituting yarn. So I just bought 10 balls, which is nowhere near, so it's about 800 grams, but because it's a chunky weight yarn, it's an Aran weight yarn, it's nowhere near enough to make a sweatshirt or anything with sleeves really. So I've earmarked that yarn to make this slip over, so I do have that yarn. Again, it's yarn that I want to get out of my stash, so I think I'm making good progress in terms of stash busting this year. At least it feels that way. I feel like I'm not buying too much. I had a bit of a splurge when I went to Wonderwool, but I haven't really splurged too much, so I'm probably going to cast on this one before the next update. So yeah, otherwise I don't think I have anything else to update, but I'm really interested to know what you guys are working on. Have you made any of the patterns that I'm making, and what did you think of them? Is there anything that you would like me to make a video on specifically? I've taught lots of people how to knit, so if that's something you're interested in, do let me know, because I'd be really happy to make a series on that. Yeah, but otherwise I'm having great fun doing these videos, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.